Yes, please do not start savings or even borrowing before understanding this concept here. Yeah. So, like I usually say, um, you see, I usually refer inflation and interest rate as couples. Why? Why do I usually refer them as couples? It's because they usually coexist. Yeah. And another reason is that you can never talk of macroeconomics without having to touch on inflation and interest rate. So in this video, I'm going to show you how these two couples usually relate. Yes, it is very important to understand that any in any interest rate that you usually see is usually called nominal interest rate. Yeah. So it's usually upon you as a saver or upon you as a lender to calculate real interest rate. Yes. Now, in this scenario here, I'm going to explain using a risk-free rate of return. Risk-free rate of return means that that return that we are assuming that it is it's not having any element of risk. It is risk-free. And these examples, the example of risk-free rate of return is, for example, when you talk about the treasury bill. Yeah, because you see, when you talk about treasury bill is usually backed by government. Yeah, and we assume that a government will continue to be in existence and it will continue to pay off the debts. Yes, when they arise, yeah, or when they fall due. Okay, so that's the basis here. So if you see, for example, in the first this first element here, this is 6%. So let me put here percentage. So percentage, so 6%. This is what we consider real required rate of return, but it is real. Yeah. Yeah, so it should be real required rate of return. Real required rate of return. Let me just adjust this to be real required rate of return. Real required rate. Required rate of return. Real required rate of return. So up to here, this is real required rate of return. And just as I've told you, you normally find that for an institution to quote interest rate, they cannot just quote real. Yes, they usually add an inflation element to that real required rate of return, so that we come up with nominal interest rate. Yeah, so that's why even I wrote this one here, can always help you to compute required rate of return, whereby here this 1 plus I in bracket is equals to 1 plus R in bracket times 1 plus pi in bracket, whereby this I here stands for nominal interest rate, then this one here stands for real rate, then this pi sign here stands for inflation rate. So this is what I've represented here. So from here to here is the what we call the inflation premium. So of course, if you want to get here, just subtract this from this, you will get here, this is around 4. So inflation premium here is 4. So 4 plus this is 10. So this 10 This one this one is what will give you the nominal interest rate. So up to here, the nominal interest rate. Yeah, the nominal interest rate here is 10. Yeah, so I believe you've wondered why sometimes you find that interest rate usually varies from time to time. Yeah, so that's what is explained by this point here. Yes, so from this point here, we have increase in anticipated inflation. So if we are expecting that inflation will increase, so that one will also will always push the nominal interest rate higher. So from here to here, this is around around six. So if inflation increases to by 10, then interest rate will adjust to what? Nominal interest rate will adjust to 16%. Yeah. So a simple thing that I'm trying to explain here is that you usually find that when inflation increases, interest rate also increases. When inflation decreases, interest rate also falls. Yeah. So they usually go in one direction. Yeah. So this is very important to note before you start investing. Now, to proceed a little bit, if we, for example, if we have data capturing interest rates, possible interest rates, and also, of course, any interest rate now beyond this level, beyond beyond this level, will now attract some risk premium. Yeah, attract some risk premium. So when risk increases, you will find that interest rate also, required rate of return also increases. Nominal required rate of return also increases. So that's brings us this this line here. So this line is called security market line. Yeah, so security market line. So this security market line is just a plotting of increase in rate of required rate of return against increase in risk beyond this intercept level here, 10. So I've said that at this 10, we are assuming that this required rate of return is risk free. So it is only adjusted for inflation element. Yeah. So this is very important. Now as you can see here, we have two security market lines. So we have one and we have two. Now the difference between this and this is because of anticipated increase in anticipated what? Inflation. So if, for example, now inflation in March, inflation in using Kenyan example, inflation in April was 4.1. So assuming that now inflation in May or inflation in June will increase maybe by 6% or 2%. So we add that to what we have here, so that we change what? Security market line. So the new intercept will now be 16. So from here, we also have the increase in risk also increases the required rate of return. So this is very simple. So it's always very important when you expect the deviations, when you expect deviation in unexpected unexpected results. That's what actually we call risk. Yeah. So deviation, maybe it can go down or it can go down or it can increases. So that's what we call the risk. Risk is prediction of undesirable result. Yeah. So yes, so this is very important for you. before you start investing or before you go for borrowing. So always understand this. So my assumption here, I've assumed taxes, but always in ideal case you'll always find that there is taxes also incorporated in lending. Yeah, yes. So please note this one. Don't forget, anytime that you are borrowing or you are looking forward to saving, always consider that. Thank you.